Hello. In today's little session, we're going to talk about doing projects, simple projects in Gmail. To continue with the discussion from my last video, where I talked about collections in Gmail, because we live in Gmail, so there's many things you can do in Gmail. One of the things you can also do is do project management. If we're talking about something like really simple, whereby you just need to be able to do tasks and be notified of these tasks and know where the status is and things like that. So for something like that, you can easily use Gmail. And so I'm going to share an example. So if we go to Claude here, we'll just use Claude. We'll do it using AI so it can help us. You can do something like this yourself in your business. And I'm just going through all the motions, like if I didn't know anything about anything almost, how you could potentially go about doing this. I created this little prompt, which I'm going to paste in here to save time. And basically, I'm saying I'm going to have this little project coming up for a landscaping company. They want to upgrade their 5 computers, buy some stuff, and I need to get it done. Budget, since I have the budget, approximately all of that. And so I kind of describe what I'm trying to do in terms of this project, and you can pause the video and read it yourself if you'd like. And as you can see, it's not a huge prompt. It's, a little more than a sentence, but it's relatively short. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit submit here and let it do its thing, and let's see how fast it does it. And this is using Claude 3.7 Sonnet, and it's asking some questions. So it says, what antivirus software are you currently using? Let's do this. Let's say pick something reliable and inexpensive, but well rated. So this will be number 1. Number 2, it says, what type of work does the landscape company primarily do on these computers? Yeah, basic office stuff. Okay, and then are there any printing specific requirements for monitors? Let's do 27-inch monitors. And number 4, what is the hourly labor for this project? Pick something congruent with the industry. So basically, I'm trying not to give it any specifics for the most part, except for things like it wants to know how big the monitors will be. I know how big they should be, so I don't want it to guess. But everything else I wanted to guess. And I misspelled pick something. As you can see, I didn't have a space in there, but it'll figure all the stuff out. Okay. So then it immediately comes back and basically gives me a summary. We got 5 machines. We have antivirus. We have color laser printer, 4 monitors, and budget ceiling $6,000, including 10.3 sales tax. Okay, perfect. So it says here's the equipment recommendation pricing. i5 16 gigabytes. Yeah, pretty decent. Okay. And then we got 27-inch HPs. Okay, and we've got. So in other words, it's itemizing everything like I asked it. Shows me all the different parts. We got the computers, we got the monitors, we got the printer, antivirus 5 licenses, excellent. And then it shows the subtotal here, sales tax, equipment costs, that. Then we have all the different tasks, and it decided $75 an hour, which is reasonable. That's not bad. We have all the stuff. It says total hours 23. Total labor cost $17.25. Okay, so overall total, it came back, project total this plus labor, $59.98.96. So it basically came right almost to the budget limit, the way it figured out all these other parts, which is excellent. Project timeline 1 to 2 days. I think we're going to do it in a day. Equipment delivery 3 to 5 days. Implementation 3 business days. Oh, okay, procurement is 1 to 2 days. Project, okay, approximately 2 weeks. Yeah. Okay. Now it says this plan provides the landscaping company with reliable, well-rated equipment at competitive prices while staying at under $6,000 budget. The labor rate, $75 an hour, is competitive for IT services for small businesses in this industry. The selected components balance performance and value with sufficient specification for office tasks. Okay? Right there. Okay, so we basically have everything we need to do, including the task list. So I can go ahead and copy that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Gmail. And we're going to manage it in Gmail. Obviously, I could talk to it some more. I could change some things, ask it to manipulate. But the idea is to show you the basic use without specifying anything except for what I'm trying to accomplish in terms of details. And it figured it out, got a nice thing done, and so on. So in today's video, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to talk about managing a project from Gmail. So we're going to create a new email here. We're going to make the subject project landscaping, and we're going to paste in there everything that Claude had. We just paste it right in there. So we have all details about the project, overview, what it is, individual details, totals, the whole 9 yards. Okay? And we can basically keep this as a draft, or I can send it to myself, so I'll have a copy of it that way. Okay. So the next step is in terms of how do you manage this thing. Obviously, ordering and everything else will be done using usual approach, but in terms of tasks of what to do, that's where we go over to this point here. Let's make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to read. And let's look at the tasks here. And so what we can do, we can say, okay, initial assessment, 2 hours, it says. So we're going to just plan all this stuff out on the calendar, because basically everybody lives in Gmail, but at the same time, calendar is important for all the events that are happening and everything that needs to be done. So many people don't use Google Tasks, but they're actually pretty useful. And the nice thing about Google Tasks is those are tied in directly to both Gmail and to Google Calendar. So what I mean by that? I mean that we can say we're going to create a new task. We click on that, and then to make things good here, let's change the create a new list for this project. We'll call it landscaping project. Okay, so everything, basically all the tasks go under landscaping, and it says it right up there. And so we're going to add a task. And in terms of tasks, we're just going to do exactly what it says right here. So it says initial assessment, 2 hours. So we're going to say initial assessment. And we're going to click on the calendar icon to figure out when we're actually going to do it. Let's start on the 14th. And the time will start at 10 a.m., let's say. Okay, so we have a task 10 a.m. there. And then we're going to do another one, which is going to be procurement. And let's do it on the 14th as well. And we're going to start this at maybe 1 p.m. If we jump over to the calendar and we go to the 14th next week, we can see we have these 2 tasks already in our calendar. So this way we can continue just simply setting up the tasks here in this list. And so this way, when you get things done, let's say we're going through the motions, now that we have our list of things to do on that day, which is easily visible, let's say we go ahead and we finish the user training. So if we, then when you pull up the list here, you simply click on user training, the checkbox to indicate you're done. and it goes away into, when you click on complete a task, you can see it's down below, so it's not gone, but it's gone from the list of active tasks that should be done. And if we look at the calendar, user training is gone. Okay, user training is gone. So the beauty of this thing is that as you go through these things, let's say we did initial assessment, and now initial assessment is gone. Now let's get rid of computer setup. So if we go and do computer setup and we click it like it's done, then when you look at the calendar, there is no computer setup anymore. So in other words, it automatically handles changing your calendar when you set up tasks. It puts them in there automatically for you. And then when you get them done, it removes them from the calendar automatically. You don't have to do anything special. And thus you can see what the latest thing is. And of course, you don't have to do it from Gmail. If you're sitting in the calendar and you're doing the procurement step, you can see one of the options in procurement is mark completed. So you can also complete it here, and then it's gone from the calendar. Same thing as doing it from there, but you can do it from here as well. Another thing you can do is for each step, for each task, you not only have basic description, but you, like I put in 3 hours, you can put as much text here as you want. So if you want to put some kind of status information about where this particular step is, or if you had any problems or anything like that, you can easily drop it in there, you know, and put something like, this is what software installation, we could say Quicken refused to launch, need to contact Intuit. Okay, and so you can put some additional information for yourself and leave it open. Of course, you can change the time and date as you see fit. You know, all these things are changeable. And so when I save it, then I have something in there. It doesn't show me that I have something in there, but if I click on it, then it comes up and I can change it anytime I want. And then eventually when I get done, I just hit complete it and it's gone. Okay. It gives you plenty of places to indicate what's going on. You can easily set up the tasks that you need to complete directly from Gmail. And if we go back to example from yesterday, when I was talking about adding basically a link to the email directly from Gmail, you can see that you can do the same thing here. When you set up these tasks, you don't have to set them up as separate tasks here. What you could do, and this is what I would actually recommend to do. So another thing you could do is you could actually add the tasks directly from this email, and then you will have direct link from every single task that you set up, linking back to the email itself. So let's do this right now. Let's send this email to me, because you can't do it with draft messages, unfortunately. You can only do it with real emails. So I'm going to send it to myself. So there is my email right there. Okay. And now I have ability to click on this add to tasks. Okay. So when I click on that, it creates a new task. Let's call it, and it puts in project landscaping as the default description, but we can say whatever we want. New task example. Obviously, you can call it anything you want, just like any task. And you can put in the details and so on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and simply save it for, let's say, tomorrow. Okay? And so we're done here. And so what's going to happen if I go to calendar and look at tomorrow, I can see there's right there this new task example. So it added it just like the other tasks we did. But the beauty of this approach is that when I click on this task, now I have a link here with a little email envelope here, and it says project landscape. I can actually click on this particular link in the task from the calendar, and it's going to pull up Gmail, and it's going to pull up that exact email. So in other words, you can use this email as the catalyst for all these different tasks associated with this particular email. And then when you deal with tasks, if you have multiple projects or different things you're working on, you don't need to worry about where the email for this project is, because the email link will be in every single task if you use this approach to add tasks. Okay? So that would be a better way to do it than simply adding tasks manually. You can just add them by using this option. When you have the email up, if you simply click on this add to tasks option, that's going to enable you to put in a new task, but it's going to be linked directly to this email automatically. And then any tasks you see in the calendar, you'll be able to simply go back right to the actual email they came from by a single click. And so that makes it a very cohesive way to have an email that has all the information about the project, and then you have all these tasks you set up from that email that are linked to it, so you can easily get back to this email. And then as you work through these tasks, when you get done, you just mark them completed. If you need to put some information, you can put them right into the task. You can click on completed from either Gmail here from the task list or from the calendar. It makes it very flexible, number one. And number two, it makes it very useful for doing simple project management of all kinds of projects. So I hope you find this useful. And if you have any questions, please drop them below. Until next time, I'm still Oleg.